Are you going to kill me? Well, give me a roast, apple crumble custard, and I'll go to the grave.
Oh, hey, welcome to Kind. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Holly, and I'll be chatting to guests about the times people were kind to them and how that changed things for the better. This episode, you'll hear how replying to an eager, earnest, and entitled MySpace message managed to shape a whole career. By the way, you're one of a kind. Right, let's drop you straight in. My guest today is poet and author Raymond Antrobus.
Good afternoon. Great to be here. Thank you for having me.
So I wanted to ask, what do you think it means to be kind? What does it mean to you?
It's a kind of selflessness, because kindness is being able to give. I think kindness can also be receiving well, but yeah, being able to give or receive without conditions. You know, it's not something you're doing for your own motive.
So when a guest comes on the show, I ask them to have a think about 3 times people have done something kind for them. And this was the first thing Raymond wanted to share.
The most recent example that's kind of come to mind, just because it only happened a few weeks ago, was making a new friend, playing chess with him, and suddenly we get into this conversation about chocolate, and he's like, "I love chocolate. You know what? I got this stash of chocolate." Like he's talking about all the different kinds of chocolate that he loves, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, actually, I do have some chocolate." And he goes and gets it out, and then realizes he's only got like a few pieces left. And after all his talk about how much he loved chocolate, he just broke them all apart and just gave them all to everyone else. And I was so moved by that, just because he already explained what it meant to him. So he would have loved to have that chocolate, but he gave it. So he wanted to share it, and then the fact that he clearly enjoyed people enjoying his gift. It's a really small thing, but it really stuck with me. And I've been trying to keep like a kind of gratitude journal, kind of little notes about when I experience little kind of profound things that really stay with me. Just again, because for him, his name is Joel. You could see it was completely selfless. It meant nothing really to him to just give and he enjoyed giving.
So paint that picture for me. So Joel's there. What are you doing? And how does he start talking about his love of the chocolate?
Well, this was at a residency called Civitella Ranieri. It's a castle in Umbria in Italy. And so I lived there for 6 weeks with 14 or so artists. Some of them were writers, some of them were visual artists. There was an architect, and then there was quite a few musicians as well. Joel is a painter, a visual artist. We'd sat together at dinner in this gazebo out in this very idyllic, beautiful garden out, which faced the castle. And when I say castle, I mean this is like a legit, 10th century like castle.
It's got turrets.
It's just got the castle stuff going on.
Did it have a moat?
It used to. No, it didn't have a moat. It's landlocked. It's all landlocked. Okay. So that's. Yeah, living in there, I kind of also got to interacting with the ghosts of that space as well, and that was interesting. So before I met the ghosts, I met the people. So Joel, we just kind of got talking about, we've got 6 weeks of time. How about we go to the library and play chess? You remember chess? I was like, how do we play chess again? What are all the moves? What are all the roles? How so much. And so, the fact that we'd already had like a whole day of work, and we go into the library, he places out the chess pieces on the board. Let's play chess. I'll remind you of the rules. we're both here in this place that is alien to both of us. We're both going to navigate this. It was just like this kind of feeling, just a feeling of someone wanting to spend that kind of time with you when they don't know you, and they're willing to give you that, I don't know, generosity, energy, faith, because they don't know if you're a good person or not. You know, they're just like, well, you know.
And so he mentions his love of chocolate. He brings out the chocolate. What sort of chocolate is it? Is it a dark chocolate? Is it?
It's a dark chocolate. I can't give you names. I'm really bad with like brand names.
Do you remember what the wrapper looked like?
No, because he held it and it was like he unwrapped it himself. It was already like in the foil bit, so the main wrapper bit had come off. But it was special chocolate and it was delicious. It was like, Joel, you are correct. This is good, you know?
Yeah. And how is your chest now after?
Better.
Yeah.
Better, but do not enter me into any competitions. My chess and my pool as well. There was also a pool table next to the chessboard, and table football and ping pong. And got really, I think that's the activity that I probably increased my skill in the most with the ping pong. I think I got pretty good at that.
So you played ping pong for 4 weeks in a castle. That sounds like a nice time.
Yeah, good times. Take me back. So I'm freshly back from that. So I'm still kind of digesting my time as a castle dweller. You know,
you now get to call yourself for a period of your life a castle dweller.
Yeah, I recommend it just for a short time. Unless you already have a castle, then it's just whatever to you. But yeah, that was my first experience like that. And, you know, you're being cooked for every day. You've got a maid coming in to clean your room. Like, it was truly living like a king. I think I said to you before we started recording that I now know what it must be like to live like royalty or an aristocrat, where just things are just done for you, and how it just lightens your life, and you just kind of float around in a little bubble, you know, shielded from the cracks and the grit of what it is to actually, you know, live life and be with people. And you know, a lot of that is in the maintenance work. A lot of that is in, you know, the cooking, the cleaning, the shopping, the just having to deal with, and that's what living is. You know, it was like a calm before the storm, because I'm about to go on a book tour as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've kind of started writing this whole new thing now. Then my head's there. And this book that's coming out, The Quiet Ear, is a book I've been trying to, you know, kind of been in the process for about 6 years. So and now it's finally a real thing, bounded, a physical object that people can read and talk to me about.
Yeah.
which is wild. I've totally gone off on a tangent though, because you asked me about kindness, and
we are going to come back to The Quiet Ear.
Okay.
One thing I want to ask, outside of castle life,
yes,
what's an everyday act of kindness that means a lot to you? Is there something like when someone just drops you a message to check in, or, you know, someone, I don't know, like makes you a drink or whatever it is? Is there something that means a lot?
Well, the thing that I think means the most to me, no, not the most, but something that means a lot to me is when someone cooks for you. That's really profound. And again, I mean, going back to like living in this castle at Civitella, where we would sit every evening around this table with all these, again, other artists, but it's the food that we're there for. It's the food that has brought that together. It's the food that is like this kind of key ingredient of the curation of the conversation of that. And I had so many conversations with different people there who said the same thing, who were like, I want to do this every day. I've been missing doing this. I haven't sat with the people I love and ate a meal like as consistently, you know. as I am now, and I need to integrate that into my life. And I had the same feeling. I'm very much on the go. I'm a freelancer. I'm teaching when I'm reading, and then I'm doing a million other things. But family is something that really means a lot to me. And I think my grandma was the most kind of stably traditional, loving person who was in my life. And she would cook. We would sit at the table. She was also congregational Christian. So there was even, everything was very ritualistic. So in saying grace, and it was just something profoundly comforting about that. And
what would she cook for you?
Oh, it's a range of things. So I've been thinking about, being half English, growing up British. Been thinking about this a lot. Like, what are the things that I really value about my Englishness? And it's got to be the roasts. The roasts. So my grandma did a roast. It was a good day. Yeah. No matter what else was going on, I mean, we're talking about the gravy. We're talking about the Brussels sprouts. We're talking about the Yorkshire pudding. We're talking about, sometimes a nut roast, sometimes a turkey. And then to top it off, apple crumble and custard.
Yes.
You don't, that's my death row meal right there.
Yes.
Oh, you're going to kill me? Well, give me a roast, apple crumble, custard, and I'll go to the grave.
Yeah. Apple crumble is a massive weakness of mine.
Oh.
I feel like I cannot have one bowl. If there is any left, I will be there scraping the edges of the dish.
Preach, I see you. Yes. Yes, same.
And so in the cooking of that roast, of that meal, and you said it, it's always a good day when that roast is coming to you. Why does it change anything else that day for the better? What is it about that act of someone doing that and you sitting down that changes things?
Well, I think it's the fact that someone's put so much time into it and you've seen them, and sometimes you participated in that. Like, you cut the carrots, the tomatoes, the onions. You had to get some of the ingredients. It's the team, it's the family. It's all of that. And then even if you, thinking about myself as a kid, even if I haven't done anything to help prepare, I've just kind of been waiting for it to cook. This is like anticipation of it. When you're in the other room, you might be watching something or reading something, you're just kind of in your own world, but then you're like, oh, the food is going to come and it's going to be back. I mean, the smell, the smell from the kitchen when a good meal is being cooked, man. And my grandma and my dad were the two people who gave me the best, most beautiful, nutritious meals I think I'll ever have in my life. So I kind of feel like that's already. So now my role is to pass that on and try and give that to my son.
Yeah.
So just last night, since being back in the UK, I've been every night. I've had my son. I've cooked for him. So last night I made ackee and saltfish with rice and peas. I mean, I tried and did a little. I kind of mixed it up a little bit though. It wasn't saltfish. It was cod, actually. And usually I do use saltfish, but I went for the cod this time. And I did something controversial, which was I put. And people know about the traditional kind of ackee and saltfish dish. I put some broccoli in it, and it really worked. And I know that people are like, broccoli in ackee and saltfish, are you mad? But it worked. So, because I was thinking about how to make a dish my own. And this was something my dad also taught me as well, because I would never make ackee and saltfish as good as he made it. And he's like, don't worry about making it as good as what I made it. You've got to find a way to make it how you make it.
Raymond's ackee and saltfish.
Raymond's ackee and saltfish has, and I'm not apologizing, but I'm just anticipating the response. of anger and confusion, it has broccoli in it. It's a little bit, like not big, not the big bit. Like I cut up the broccoli and put it in there with the tomatoes and
the big round
onions.
floret or the tender stem.
I had a big one and I just cut it up into little pieces, little tiny tree pieces. Now, did my son eat it? He had about 3 bites. And then I had to make him boiled eggs. And then he ate the rice, but without the kidney beans, without the peas. He wanted the plain rice. So I know he's not even 4 yet. So he will hopefully appreciate what it is to make a meal. Because that took me 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know what age it is that you come to where you suddenly realize the effort that a parent or a guardian is putting into the food that they're feeding you. But there is somewhere there's a switch where you suddenly go, oh, they're actually putting quite a lot of work into feeding me every day.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. That age when you, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I wonder if I did appreciate that as a kid. Probably not. I think that because a lot of my, I think I can say this. I think a lot of the trauma that I'm still kind of working through as an adult, it's quite a bit of it is based around food, because I feel like as a kid generally I was underfed, and I had to go. It took me like almost 2 hours to go to school. When I went to a school called Fortismere in Muswell Hill, and I live in Hackney, I had to get 3 buses. You know, just all of that. You know, and then to try and save money, I would try not to have a lunch, because then I get £2.50, and then I would save up that £2.50, and I knew that if I skipped at least 3 or 4 lunches by the weekend, I could buy a CD.
Yeah.
You know, so I spent a lot of time going hungry. My parents had their own stuff going on, so it was like, a lot of time alone in the house, and then I would rely on like my friends' parents to feed me and blah blah blah. So I'm still like, food is really at the center, I think, of having a stable, communal, peaceful life.
Yeah. The question is, we'll go with you first, if that's all right. What's your name?
Jasper.
Jasper. Can you think of one kind thing that someone's done for you? It could be recently, it could be ages ago.
He's bought me food.
He bought you food? What food did he buy you?
I can't remember, just food in general. All the time.
Nice. And what was your name?
I'm Lucas.
Lucas. What's a kind thing that someone did for you?
He bought me a vape liquid the other day.
Bought you a what?
Vape liquid.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was very thankful. I was very helpful. It's very helpful.
Cool.
So yeah, thank you.
Thanks very much. I love that they're about each other. That's really sweet. Have a great day. As part of what you sent me before you came here, you sent me some stories of kindness. And one of them was about a teacher in particular, Miss Walker.
Oh, yeah.
Would you tell me about her and what she did that was kind?
Shout out Miss Walker. She's still a teacher of the deaf. She was my support teacher when I was 15 years old at school. She was in my sociology lesson, so she would sit next to me and she would help me take notes. And after each lesson, she would relay with me, you know, to ensure that I'd understood. She was young. I think she was like 22. Mm-hmm. And so her energy was very youthful. I remember she was quite easy to relate to. We were talking about some films and some music that she liked, that I also liked. I was like, okay. And I could like be a bit silly or tell a joke or something, and it wouldn't be like, you. So there's also a kind of suspension of judgment, I guess, around that. Like I could be a 15-year-old basically, and I don't know. I could be seen. But the thing I think I really remember about her is her patience, and I could tell that she expected a lot of me in a way that I didn't feel like most of my other teachers did.
So expectation in that sense is a really positive thing for you.
Yeah, it was. At this point in my life, I am in a deaf school, and I'm also part of a hearing school, a mainstream school. So all the lessons I have in the mainstream school are supported with. I have this support, and it was kind of funny because the deaf school was like this building that was kind of hidden in the bush. That's like literally walk into a bush, literally a pathway up there. In contrast to this like bigger, shinier mainstream school.
So the two schools sort of interact, and you have some education in both.
Yes, I have some education in both. So I'm learning British Sign Language and how to lip read, and how to be a deaf person in the bush. then I come out of the bush into this mainstream school where I'm pretending to be a hearing person, and like, okay, I've done all of my speech therapy, and I've done all of these like all of this sensibility training. And now I'm ready to act like a hearing person, so that people can think I'm quote unquote normal. Mm-hmm. So Miss Walker was someone who had seen, I think, the compartmentalization of me, because she's seen me in both spaces. And my academic performance was bad, and she was someone, and a few other teachers clearly knew that I wasn't stupid, that I wasn't incapable of what was being asked of me academically.
Yeah.
She just knew that I was missing a lot, and I had a lot of things going on in my life. And it, like I said, it took me, it's almost 4 hours, like traveling every day, like going to school and back. And then the kind of stuff I was seeing on the way to school and the way back, it was kind of a wild time, but still like,
what sort of things were you seeing on the way to school and on the way back?
Just madness, just like, so, I don't know, like, violence. There were different. Yeah, I know. I mean, that's how, again, tangent king. I'm kind of overwhelmed with stories I could tell you about things I've seen on the W3 bus, on the 236 bus, on the W7 bus, on the 144 bus. Every one of these buses has some horrific stuff I've seen and survived. And that's before you get to Hackney.
Yeah. When
I'm in Hackney, and then there's some other stuff going on. So yeah, it was treacherous at that time for me. So I remember feeling really on edge about a lot of that stuff, a lot of stuff that's going on. And so what Miss Walker knew is that if I left school, I wasn't going to do my homework when I got home. I was going to go home. I was probably going to eat one meal, and then I was going to go to sleep, and then I was going to get up the next day and come back, right? So, or I'd go and see a friend or something. I don't know. So she knew if she could get me one-on-one, because one-on-one I was really good. She was like, oh, when I'm speaking to you one-on-one and I'm telling you, you know, and we're discussing the lesson and what's expected of you, and then I leave you to do it, you do it. You know, you're writing these sociological reports and analyses of you know, and so she could see I was capable. I just needed that support.
How did you feel about staying back after school?
To be honest, it was safe.
Right.
It was safe. And that's why I think, you know, I was 15, and I still remember it, because not only did she want into the dimensions of her support and her help was that deep. It was like, she wants me to get the grade she thinks that would reflect my intelligence. And she recognized and saw some of the things that were going on outside of school, and I think it was like a way to be like, okay, well, if you're with me and we're inside and we're doing the work, then you're safe.
Yeah.
For that time. And I felt that. And she went beyond her pay grade, because I know she wasn't getting paid for the after school time, which is something that I think about and have thought about in terms of my own time teaching. I was like, oh yeah, remember what Miss Walker gave you? Yeah, give that back.
Yeah.
You know, give that back. Keep giving that back. And that's the thing with kindness. It is a currency. When you receive it, give it.
Yeah.
Give it away.
Jade, lovely to meet you.
Well, a few days ago when I tripped over, broke my foot, and people helped me up and helped take me back to my front door, and then I've had friends who dropped everything and brought me, because I live quite high up, brought me food and stuff like that, and done a lot of things, which was really nice. And I've come back, and my mum's looked after me for the past few days, and it's been lovely. And everyone's really stepped up and looked after me.
Everyone's rallied around.
Everyone's rallied around, which was really, really nice.
I hope you heal very soon.
Oh yes, yeah, I think it's like 8 weeks, but yeah, I've had everyone's been really, really kind.
And there's another story you sent me about a poet called Jacob. And you said that he did something very kind for you.
Yeah.
So could you tell me about that?
So Jacob Samler Rose, shout out Jacob Samler Rose. I was 19 and I wanted to find out how to get into poetry. I've been doing a couple of slams, which is like competitive poetry. Again, competitiveness comes up, and like open mics. I was going to a night called Poetry Unplugged, hosted by Niall O'Sullivan. I was doing Farrago slams, hosted by John Paul O'Neill. And I met loads of poets. I met like Holly McNeish and Keith Jarrett and Kay Tempest, and like all of these became people who I was around at that time, and kind of gave me this avenue into this whole other world of poets and poetry. But I didn't know how to actually make a living as a poet. Where you know. So a name that kept coming up was Jacob Samler Rose, and this is the day of MySpace.
Yeah.
So I look through him on MySpace and I find his profile, and I write him this really, just, I don't know, let's call it entitled immature email. I don't know, just but also like very eager and earnest
Yeah.
and just naive, all of these things.
Yeah.
Because it was like it was a massive overshare. Like all the stuff that's going on, what poetry means to me, like, you know, all this stuff.
How long was this message?
Oh man, it must have been like it was like a letter. It was you know, it was going to take its time to read it, you know? So anyway, I kind of impulsively sent it. And about 2 days later, he actually responded to it. And he responded to it with such graciousness. And again, this is only as I've gotten older and I'm looking back, because now I'm someone who gets a lot of messages from young writers, young poets, you know, and so I have to channel my inner Jacob sometimes, because sometimes I get messages and I'm like, I cannot believe you're asking me this.
What sort of thing?
I think the most common thing I get at the moment is because I have poems on the GCSE syllabus, so I get lots of questions. So this line, what does this mean? I've
very
got
specific.
You know, I've got a assignment of this poem due. Can you tell me this so that I can get this? And I mean, like this is very common. This is like I can't. Yeah. Anyway, I get lots of those messages, and then I get sent. You know, people write like poems and you know that and stuff. Anyway. I think I did also send Jacob a poem as, my terrible poem. Anyway, whatever. Well, the point is, Jacob graciously responded to me, and he said that he could tell I was hungry and eager and interested in poetry. So he met up. He arranged to meet up with me, and again, talking about like kindness being something where there's nothing in it for you. There was no this is a very busy person. There were so many other things he could have been doing. And he gave me an hour of his time, and then, you know, we had this whole conversation, which was amazing. And then he said, I'm going into a school next week. Come in and shadow me. Watch what I do in the classroom. And that one day I spent with him, going into, you know, all these different classrooms, assemblies. I mean, it changed the route of my life. I have my life now because I was shown a path to it by Jacob extending a branch to me. So I am forever, you know, grateful and in a way in debt to that.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm trying to give back, you know, to as many hungry, naive, overly earnest, slightly entitled poets that I come across. You know, it's a different world now. But like, thank you, Jacob. That's a very grounding example for me of how to live through poetry, with poetry, you know, generously, graciously.
Yeah. And we've talked a bit earlier, mentioned The Quiet Ear, your book. So tell me about The Quiet Ear. What are you looking forward to the audience experiencing about this book that you said you worked on for 6 years and is now going out into the world?
Yeah, I'm not sure. So I haven't spoken to many people that have read it yet, but I know the whole time I was writing it, I knew I was writing something that was gonna impact a lot of people, like it's gonna speak to a lot of people. And the way that I knew that was because, again, of how much time I spend going into schools, how much time I spend teaching, talking to other teachers, how often I meet people who are secretly deaf still, or, you know, hide their hearing aids, or they have cochlear implants, and they, you they pretend that they're hearing because they don't think the deaf world will embrace them or accept them. Like, again, almost on a weekly basis, I have these interactions, and I hear myself kind of telling the same stories again and again and again to all these different people, and it's just like, I need to write this down. This needs to be in a place.
Yeah.
When people ask you like, oh, what's the thing you think people will look back at like in this time and be like, oh, I can't believe I did that. And there's two things that come to mind. One of them is I think people are going to look back at this time and be completely miffed by the fact that like the internet is so irregulated. Like,
Yeah.
it's not regulated. I mean, it's like, we're just starting to do that. It's like, oh, cool, you let your kids have 15 hours a day screen time. That's like yesterday's cigarettes. You know what I mean? But also, I think the way that we talk and think about disability will be something. It is so painfully juvenile and undeveloped, the way that we think about disability and disabled bodies. It's just woven. It's woven into our language, into our way of being, and like, the default culture is an ableist culture.
Yeah.
And I believe that we're going to grow up and grow out of this. Would you think recently around, the disability cuts that happened in the UK, but then the pushback to that has been incredible, and it worked. The government had to back down, and they've reconfigured it. I mean, it's still terrible. I mean, people who the existing benefit claimants are okay, but the ones to come, I think that there was a real misjudgment there in the belief that people do not really care about people with disabilities, and the culture, the pushback has disproven that. You know what I mean?
I think it's like, there are so few people who do not have some level of disability or know someone with disability. Yeah. And yet as a society behaves like, it doesn't impact me. And it does impact you or someone for almost everyone. I was saying to you before we started recording that your book had a really big impact on me because my mum was deaf, and there were lots of parts in it where, I spent a lot of the time reading it thinking, God, I wish she could read this, because there's a bit that you write about forgiveness, and I don't think she ever forgave the world for how she was treated. And I don't think she ever forgave herself for her perceived lack that the world told her that she had. And hearing someone who actually grew up in a really similar circumstance, my mum grew up in Hackney, she, like really near to where you grew up, like she was deaf from birth, but people didn't know until she was like, I think she was like 7 or 8. And she was told people to start with were just, oh, well, you're just stupid, you're just getting things wrong. And just to read that there is someone in a life experience that has some similarities to hers, and is finding that forgiveness was like the warmest thing for me. So thank you.
Oh. That's a really beautiful thing to hear and to receive. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get emotional. Like, the grief is still, it's bubbly. To finish, I wanted to ask you, what is the kindest thing you have ever done for yourself?
The kindest thing I've ever done for myself. I'm like, I struggle with the idea of like doing things for yourself, of being selfish, and selfishness has a negative connotation. But there is a necessity to selfishness. And I really don't want to sound grandiose, so I'm just like really trying to keep it like, you know.
You can sound grandiose.
I'm trying to recover from my own grandiosity, because I don't really think it's good for me. But like, I think that the time that I kind of pulled away from the world and just kind of focused on wanting to be a poet. And for some reason, I had this really intense belief and feeling that this was the thing that was going to save me. This was the thing that was going to lead me to live a richer life on my own terms. And the fact that I did that, knowing that there was almost no one in my life at that point who would understand that or appreciate that. You know, I had to like cut off a lot of people because I knew it wouldn't make sense to any of the people I was around. And I think I was being kind to myself by trusting this kind of gut instinct I had to do that.
You're being true to yourself.
I think so.
Yeah.
So when I think about, you know, again, like this 18, 19-year-old version of me that did that, like, I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
Because now, like, that I'm where I quite like where I'm at. I quite like who I am and who I've become.
Yeah.
And couldn't have done it without that angsty, self-absorbed kid.
Amazing. On that fantastic note, Raymond, thank you so much. It's been so great to chat to you.
Oh, thank you for having me. Appreciate this.
Thank you so much for listening. Your presence here and your support means so much to me. Raymond gave me a huge hug after we finished recording this episode, which was the absolute kindest thing to me. But thinking of the whole chat, it just makes me marvel at all the teachers or mentors or people who take us under their wing and how much those actions can shape a whole life or career. Shout out to Dr. Fit in my primary school, who made me really enjoy maths, but also just gave me confidence in what I can achieve. And so, this episode is dedicated to them. Maybe share this episode with a teacher in your life or someone else who might love it. I would also love to hear a story from you about a time someone was kind to you. So send that in at kindpodcast.com or email me, holly@kindpodcast.com, and I will feature some of the stories on the show. If you like the show, hit subscribe to the channel. It helps me a lot. It was great to spend time with you. Speak soon.
Dream on and let your heart unfold.